Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with an uncomfortable truth. Success does not feel good in the beginning. It does not hug you. It does not applaud you. It tests you. It shakes you. Many people admire the strength of Muniba Mazari, but few truly understand the painful process behind her power. Strength is not born in comfort. It is born in crisis. It is born in moments when you think, I cannot continue. And yet, you do. Education teaches us that growth requires resistance. In psychology, we call it resilience. In life, we call it courage. Muscles grow when they are stretched. Character grows when it is challenged. If everything feels easy, you are not growing. You are settling. Let me ask you something. When was the last time discomfort taught you something valuable? Discomfort is not punishment. It is preparation. The exam is not there to destroy you. It is there to reveal you. The same principle applies to life. Success is an educational journey, and pain is part of the curriculum. Most people want the diploma without attending the class. They want results without responsibility. But success demands participation. It requires discipline. It requires you to wake up when you do not feel like waking up. It requires you to continue when applause is absent. You see, excuses are comfortable. Blaming others is comfortable. Waiting for the perfect moment is comfortable. But comfort has never created greatness. Responsibility does. The moment you say, "This is my life and I will own it," something powerful happens. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a student of your challenges. And here is another lesson. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Feelings change daily. Commitment must not. If you only work when you feel inspired, you will never master anything. Education teaches repetition. Success also demands repetition. Daily effort, daily learning, daily improvement. Adversity is not a signal to quit. It is a signal to adapt. The strongest identities are not formed during applause. They are formed during silence. When no one sees your struggle, when no one understands your tears, when progress feels invisible, that is when your character is being built. Success is not comfortable because transformation is not comfortable. A seed must break before it grows. A student must study before graduating. A person must endure before achieving. This is not cruelty, this is process. So if today feels hard, good. If the journey feels demanding, good. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Remember this. Comfort keeps you where you are. Discomfort takes you where you are meant to be. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is an educational process. And if you embrace the lesson, accept the responsibility, and commit to the discipline, you will not only achieve success, you will become someone worthy of it. Growth begins where comfort ends. And that is not just a beautiful sentence. It is a biological fact, a psychological principle, and a life law. Look at your own life. Every single time you evolved, every single time you matured, every single time you became stronger, it was not during easy days. It was during pressure. It was during uncertainty. It was during moments when you said, "Why is this happening to me?" And yet something inside you whispered, "Keep going." That whisper is growth, knocking at the door of your fear. Comfort is seductive. It tells you, stay here, you are safe. But safety is not the same as progress. Safety keeps you surviving. Discomfort pushes you into becoming. When you stay in routines that require no courage, you slowly shrink your potential. You start negotiating with your dreams, you lower your standards, you accept less than you are capable of achieving. And then, one day you wake up frustrated, not because life was unfair, but because you chose comfort over expansion. Listen carefully. Fear is not a stop sign. Fear is a green light that says, you are about to grow. Your heart beats faster before a big decision. Your hands shake before a bold move. Your mind creates doubts before a new challenge. That is not weakness. That is the body preparing for elevation. The problem is not fear. The problem is obeying fear. You want confidence? Then do uncomfortable things. Confidence is not given. It is earned through action. The first time you speak up, Your voice trembles. The first time you try something new, you feel exposed. The first time you risk failure, your ego screams. But after you survive it, something powerful happens. You realize you did not break. You stretched. And stretching is how strength is built. Stop asking for an easy path. Easy paths do not lead to extraordinary destinations. If your goal does not scare you, it will not change you. Growth demands friction. Growth demands resistance. Growth demands that you leave the familiar and step into the unknown without guarantees. That is where transformation lives. And let me tell you something very direct. Your comfort zone is a beautiful prison. It has soft pillows, predictable routines, and zero miracles. Nothing magical happens there. The moment you decide to apply for the opportunity you think you are not ready for, the moment you decide to study harder than required, the moment you decide to take responsibility instead of making excuses, that moment, growth begins. Do not wait to feel ready. Ready is a myth. You become ready by moving. You become capable by trying. You become strong by facing what intimidates you. The door to your next level is marked discomfort. Walk through it with trembling knees if you must, but walk through it. Because on the other side of fear is expansion, and on the other side of expansion is the person you are meant to become. Pain is a teacher, not an enemy, but most people treat it like an intruder. The moment discomfort appears, they panic. The moment life hurts, they ask, "Why me?" But what if the real question is, what is this trying to teach me? Every painful experience carries a lesson wrapped in resistance. And if you are brave enough to unwrap it instead of running from it, you will discover strength you never knew you had. Think about it. Discipline hurts before it pays. Rejection hurts before it redirects. Failure hurts before it refines. Pain is not designed to destroy you. It is designed to develop you. The problem is not the pain. The problem is our interpretation of it. We label it as punishment, when in reality it is preparation. We see it as loss, when sometimes it is protection. When you fail, your ego screams. When you lose, your pride feels wounded. When someone walks away, your heart feels shattered. But listen carefully. Pain exposes what comfort hides. It shows you your weaknesses, your attachments, your insecurities. It reveals where you need growth. Without pain, you would never examine yourself deeply. Without pain, you would never change patterns that limit you. Do not waste your suffering. Learn from it. Ask yourself, what is this moment building in me? Because pain builds patience. Pain builds emotional intelligence. The person who has struggled understands others better. The person who has cried can comfort others sincerely. The person who has fallen and stood up again develops unshakable resilience. Look at every successful individual you admire. Behind their strength is a history of hardship. Behind their wisdom is a story of wounds. They did not become powerful because life was easy. They became powerful because they refused to let pain define them negatively. They allowed it to refine them positively. Pain forces growth. When everything is comfortable, you stay the same. But when something hurts deeply, you are pushed to reflect, to adapt, to mature. It challenges your mindset. It forces you to rethink your decisions. It pushes you to evolve emotionally and mentally. That is education in its rawest form. And here is the hard truth. Avoiding pain often creates greater pain. Avoiding difficult conversations creates broken relationships. Avoiding risks creates missed opportunities. Temporary comfort leads to long-term dissatisfaction. But facing pain with courage leads to transformation. When you are in the middle of a storm, it feels endless. You question your strength. You question your direction. But storms shape landscapes. Pressure creates diamonds. Fire purifies gold. The process is uncomfortable, yes, but the result is valuable. Do not ask for a painless life. Ask for a strong character. Do not ask for fewer challenges. Ask for greater resilience. Because pain, when embraced with wisdom, becomes your greatest mentor, shaping you into someone wiser, stronger, and far more prepared for the success you are praying for. Self-worth creates strength. And if you do not understand your value, You will live your entire life negotiating with less than you deserve. The way you see yourself determines the way you allow others to treat you, the risks you are willing to take, and the dreams you believe are possible. When you doubt your worth, you shrink your goals. When you question your value, you tolerate disrespect. When you underestimate yourself, you sabotage your own growth. Listen carefully. Confidence is not arrogance. Self-worth is not ego. It is clarity. It is knowing that you are imperfect, yet capable, flawed, yet powerful, still learning, yet still deserving of opportunity. When you truly value yourself, you stop begging for approval. You stop chasing validation. You stop explaining your boundaries to people who refuse to respect them. If you do not believe in yourself, how can you expect the world to believe in you? The world responds to the energy you project. When you carry yourself with dignity, people feel it. When you speak with certainty, people notice it. When you walk into a room knowing you belong there, your presence changes the atmosphere. That does not happen by accident. It happens when you have done the internal work of accepting who you are. Many people destroy their potential because of comparison. They look at someone else's success and immediately feel inferior. They compare beginnings to someone else's middle. They forget that every journey is unique. Self-worth grows when you compete with who you were yesterday, not with who someone else is today. Your only real competition is your previous version. And let me tell you something powerful. When you value yourself, your decisions improve. You choose better relationships. You choose healthier habits. You choose environments that challenge you instead of diminish you. You stop saying yes to everything just to be liked. You start saying yes to what aligns with your purpose. That shift changes everything. Self-worth also builds resilience. When criticism comes, it does not break you because you know who you are. When rejection happens, it does not destroy you because you understand that one no does not define your entire identity. When setbacks occur, you do not collapse because your confidence is rooted internally, not externally. You must speak to yourself differently. The way you talk to yourself shapes your reality. If your inner voice constantly says, "I am not good enough," your actions will reflect hesitation. But if your inner voice says, "I am learning, I am growing, I am capable," your behavior changes. You act with courage. You try again. You persist. Stop waiting for someone else to confirm your value. Stop expecting applause before taking action. You are not here to be small. You are not here to apologize for existing. You are here to expand, to contribute, to grow. When you understand that you have something unique to offer, something no one else can replicate exactly the way you can, strength naturally rises from within you, pushing you to act boldly, speak confidently, and live intentionally. Responsibility over excuses. This is where real transformation begins. The moment you stop saying, "It's not my fault," and start saying, "What can I do about it?" your power returns to your hands. As long as you blame your past, your parents, your boss, the economy, your circumstances, you give away control. And when you give away control, you give away growth. Yes, life can be unfair. Yes, people disappoint you. Yes, situations can be painful. But excuses will never build the future you want. Listen to this carefully. Excuses are comfortable stories we tell ourselves to avoid effort. I don't have time. I'm not talented enough. It's too late. I wasn't born with opportunities. These sentences may feel true, but they are mental prisons. Every time you repeat them, you reinforce limitation. Responsibility, on the other hand, is uncomfortable. It forces you to look in the mirror. It forces you to admit, maybe I need to improve. Maybe I need to change my habits. Maybe I need to work harder. And that admission is not weakness. It is strength. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting. You stop expecting someone to rescue you. You stop postponing your growth. You understand that even if you didn't create every problem in your life, you are responsible for solving it. That mindset alone separates leaders from followers, achievers from dreamers. Do you know what responsibility does? It builds discipline. Because when you own your results, you stop making promises you cannot keep. You wake up earlier. You prepare better. You plan smarter. You become intentional. You understand that every action has a consequence, and every consequence is feedback. If the result is not what you want, instead of complaining, you adjust. Excuses drain energy. Responsibility generates energy. When you complain, you feel helpless. When you take action, you feel empowered. That shift changes your entire psychology. You move from victim mentality to growth mentality. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me? What can I do differently?" And here is something powerful. Responsibility builds credibility. People trust those who own their mistakes. People respect those who admit errors and correct them. When you say, "I was wrong," you grow. When you say, "I will fix it," you evolve. But when you defend your excuses, you stay stuck. You cannot control everything in life. That is true. But you can control your attitude. You can control your preparation. You can control your effort. And when you master what is within your control, your confidence increases. You stop fearing failure because you know you gave your best. Stop protecting your excuses. They are not your friends. They are anchors. Cut them off. Stand up. Own your choices. Own your time. Own your habits. Own your future. Because the day you fully accept responsibility for your life is the day you unlock the door to real, unstoppable progress. Consistency beats motivation every single time. And this is one of the most misunderstood truths about success. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls. Some mornings you feel unstoppable, powerful, inspired. Other mornings you feel tired, distracted, uninspired. If your progress depends on your feelings, your results will always be unstable. Feelings change. Commitment must not. Listen carefully. Motivation is the spark, but consistency is the engine. A spark can start a fire, but without fuel, the fire dies. Many people start strong. They buy the books. They join the gym. They announce their goals. They feel excited. But when the excitement fades, so does the effort. That is why so many dreams remain unfinished. Not because people lack talent, not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack disciplined repetition. Success is not built in one powerful day. It is built in ordinary days, repeated with intention. It is built when you show up tired. It is built when nobody is watching. It is built when results are invisible but effort continues. That is the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs work when they feel inspired. Professionals work because it is their standard. You cannot negotiate with your goals. You cannot say, "I will do it tomorrow," every time you feel uncomfortable. The mind loves comfort. It will create excuses that sound logical. You deserve rest. You can start next week. One day won't matter. But small delays repeated daily become permanent stagnation. Discipline is saying no to temporary comfort for long-term achievement. Let me tell you something powerful. Consistency builds identity. When you repeatedly act in alignment with your goals, you stop saying, "I want to be successful," and you start becoming someone who acts successfully. The repetition shapes your character. You do not wake up confident. You build confidence by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you follow through, your self-trust grows. And self-trust is priceless. Results may be slow at first. That is normal. Growth is often invisible before it is obvious. Think of water boiling. It heats quietly before it transforms. If you stop at 90 degrees because you see no steam, you never reach the breakthrough. Many people quit at 90 degrees. They were close, but inconsistency stole their victory. And here is the truth. You will not always feel like it. You will not always feel motivated, but you can always choose discipline. Discipline is a decision, not a mood. It is doing what must be done regardless of emotional weather. Build routines that protect your goals, protect your mornings, protect your time, protect your focus. Small daily actions compound. 1 page a day becomes books. 1 workout a day becomes transformation. 1 hour of study a day becomes mastery. It is not dramatic. It is deliberate. Stop chasing motivation. Build habits. Stop waiting for inspiration. Create structure. Because when consistency becomes your lifestyle, progress stops being accidental and starts becoming inevitable. And that is when real success begins to take shape in your life. Through steady, powerful, relentless action, adversity builds an unshakable identity. And whether you realize it or not, the hardest moments of your life are carving the strongest version of you. Easy seasons do not reveal who you are. Pressure does. When everything is going well, anyone can smile. Anyone can stay positive. Anyone can speak about faith and strength. But when the ground shakes beneath your feet, when plans collapse, when certainty disappears, that is when your true identity. Why steps forward? Adversity strips away illusions. It removes the masks. It forces you to confront yourself without distractions. In difficult moments, you discover your real level of patience, your real emotional control, your real resilience. You find out whether you break under pressure or bend and adapt. And listen carefully. Bending is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is survival. It is growth in action. You cannot build mental toughness in comfort. You cannot develop courage without fear. You cannot develop perseverance without obstacles. Every challenge is resistance training for your character. Just like muscles grow by lifting weight, your identity grows by carrying responsibility during hard times. The weight feels heavy, yes. Sometimes it feels unfair. Sometimes you ask, why me? But that very weight is strengthening something inside you that comfort never could. Look at your past struggles. At the time, they felt unbearable. You thought you would not recover. You thought the disappointment would define you. But you are still here. Stronger, wiser, more aware. That is proof that adversity did not destroy you. It developed you. Every setback forced you to mature emotionally. Every failure forced you to improve. Adversity also clarifies your values. When everything is taken away, what remains? Your integrity, your principles, your inner voice. Hard times test your ethics. They test your commitment. It is easy to stay honest when there is no temptation. It is easy to stay positive when there is no pressure. But when the storm hits and you still choose integrity, that decision shapes your identity permanently. And here is something powerful. Adversity gives you authority. The person who has walked through fire speaks with credibility. The person who has faced rejection speaks wit. Empathy. The person who has survived loss speaks with depth. Your pain becomes part of your leadership. Your scars become symbols of endurance. You stop speaking from theory and start speaking from experience. Do not resent your challenges. Study them. Ask yourself, what is this building in me? Because within every crisis is a lesson about strength, about patience, about faith in your own capacity. Identity is not built by what happens to you. It is built by how you respond. Stand firm in difficulty. Adjust when necessary. Learn constantly. Grow intentionally. Because when adversity shapes you, instead of breaking you, you develop a presence that cannot be shaken by opinions, setbacks, or temporary failures. And that inner stability becomes the foundation for lasting, meaningful success.